Hey, it's Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Flint Hill Goods compact cargo carrier on the back of our 2022 Ram 2500. You might want to use a Hitch Cargo Carrier like this one in the event that you maybe have your bed full already. Maybe you have a tonneau covering, you don't feel like messing with it. Maybe you have some heavier items that you don't want to have to lift up and over. There's plenty of reasons, but for whatever your scenario is, we'll get into why and how this cargo carrier works. Starting off with the construction of the carrier, it is made of a durable steel with a black powder coat finish, so it will be able to hold up to constant use and the weather at the same time. Additionally, you can see that there's plenty of space inside the actual carrier for debris, sand, mud, things like that to fall through while you're driving. Around the carrier itself, you can see plenty of places to put straps down, including the front, the sides, and the back. And on the front here, there are these two reflectors built in. The carrier is black and it's pretty small, so if you're driving at night, it's nice that those are there to alert people behind you that you do have some distance on the back of your car. In case you were curious about the actual internal dimensions and how much you'll be able to fit in the carrier, we'll start by measuring how long the carrier is from the side of the inside of the rails, and we'll get that measurement at 51 3/4 inches. As far as how wide the carrier is, from the middle, there's a little bit of a lip. So you get 17 1/4, but if you move over to the sides, it goes a little bit longer than that. You get just over 17 1/2 inches. As far as how deep the carrier sits, from the bottom to the top of the rails, comes in at 4 1/8 inches. So that's how much contact you'll have on your rails with the items that you're storing. While we have our measuring tape out, you might be curious to know how much length we're adding to the back of the vehicle with this carrier. It is the compact version, so it only adds 23 inches to the back of your car. Not too bad. If you want to know how close it sits, we do have quite a bit of wiggle room here, and that still leaves 4 inches from the carrier to the bumper. As far as ground clearance goes, it's basically going to be wherever your shank is. There's no rise, so it sticks straight out at 21 3/4 from the ground to the bottom of our carrier. So plenty high, nothing I'm going to be worried about when you're going over bumps, curbs, or hills. One thing you might be curious about is how much tailgate access you'll have. So the tailgate does come all the way down, but obviously if you're storing things in here, you're going to be curious to know how high you can store those before you make contact. From the rails to the bottom here is 9 inches, so that's how much space you'll have for storage once you open your tailgate. The carrier itself is able to support up to 500 pounds, with it only actually weighing 25 pounds itself, so it's not going to detract a ton away from your hitch's tongue weight. And on the subject of the hitch, it is a 2-inch shank that fits straight into our 2-inch reducer that we have in our 2.5-inch receiver. So it's held in place by this anti-rattle bolt and the nut on the end. I will say on the subject of getting this into the hitch, we found that because it does sit so close, there's not a ton of room between the actual carrier and the safety chain spots on our hitch, so there's not a ton of movement there. If you have smaller wrenches or smaller hands, maybe it'll be easier for you, but we had a little bit of a tough time getting it in. Overall, this Flint Hill Goods compact cargo carrier still might be a good option for you if you just want to get a little bit more storage out of your bed or your cab, or you just have some heavier items that you're more comfortable with not lifting quite as high. Flint Hill Goods has a few different options for sizes and materials that they're made of, so you can check a bunch of those out here at eTrailer. This was just a look at the compact cargo carrier and how it fits on the back of the 2022 Ram 2500.